Hello everyone, I'm the Animation Fanatic, and wow, I can't believe it. I'm a week late with my review. I'm sorry, I've just been busy and not quite on top of it, and I'm trying to record this one. I just had one video kind of black out on me, connection problems. So let's hope I can get this done tonight, because I want to do reviews for both of the last week's episode, episode 7, and season 4, episode 7, and this week's, because I have a lot to say about both of them. So, jumping right into things, last week's episode was the aftermath, basically, of the Battle of Zaofu, and Korra goes back to Republic City. She reunites with a lot of people, with Bumi, with Tenzin, with Asami and Mako, and meets Prince Wu as well. And it's for some it's easier getting back with them, like Bumi and Tenzin, but with others it's a little harder. There's a little bit of tension with Mako and Asami there, but I'll get into that in a moment. We've also got Bolin and Varric trying to help out some refugees from the re-education camps, and helping them trying to get past Kuvira's lines and out of her territory. Now the thing is, and I've heard this said before, I've seen Kuvira compared to dictators in the past. Chiang Kai-shek, let me see, Stalin, especially because of her talking about equality and redistributing the wealth and whatnot. She sounds in many ways she sounds a lot like Amon, even stronger, more so than Amon. But we found out in this episode that she's actually locking up people, other than political dissidents, actually people who are of non-Earth Empire origins. So yes, still very much like, in the sense that she's locking up people, still very much like Stalin, but now we have more of a Hitler-esque element here. She's locking up people for what in their universe is basically racial reasons. She's locked up waterbenders and firebenders, and her. I'm sure as things continue, she might lock up airbenders as well. It won't be safe to be an airbender in the Earth Empire. I question what that means for the swamp benders, because as we see at the end of this episode, actually, Kuvira is in the swamp, but she's about to cut down the banyan grove tree and a lot of the other trees there to harvest their spirit energy, and she's going to probably use that to make continue creating the super weapon. Now, as we know, yeah, so I wonder, will the swamp benders kind of be put in camps because they're not earthbenders or anything, or non-benders, but because they live there, they're Earth Empire citizens, will they be included? I don't know. We might get an answer, we might not. Or will they all run away? But the most important resident of the swamp is actually Toph, who's still there, so we don't know what she's going to do. A lot of people are expecting her to go out and kick some ass, but thing is, Toph might be the greatest Earthbender of all time, but even the greatest Earthbender of all time still needs some help. Toph is an old woman. She has admitted that she's past her prime, although she's still the master. I don't think she could defeat Kuvira and all of her army by herself. She'd be overwhelmed. We know in this universe a bender can be defeated by a non-bender, and a bender can be overwhelmed. Even the best of benders can. So there's that. But back to Korra and her experience. So she meets back with her friends, and there's a little bit of conflict because she didn't talk to Mako, she talked to Asami, and Asami's telling them about getting back to talking with her dad, and Korra questions it, and Asami gets really snappy, which somebody said, like, maybe there was like a line of dialogue missing or something like that, and I'd have to agree. It was like, whoa, Asami, you're just sort of like, meh, right there. But it was nice to see them all back together. Oh yeah, and Prince Wu was being his typical kind of ditzy self. Actually ends up getting himself kidnapped. Well, it was kind of the thing was Mako didn't come into the bathroom, and Prince Wu was kidnapped by agents of Kuvira who are trying to take him to Almashu. So we get several great action scenes, and it's nice to see action scenes actually back in Republic City again. It's been a while since we saw those, since the last season took place almost entirely in the Earth Kingdom elsewhere, and a lot of the second season took place the Water Tribe areas. So it's nice to see a lot of Republic City action. I kind of question Korra's sort of senses, like she sort of sensed, oh, Wu is in there, and she was able to tell where he was. But yeah, I guess it does kind of make. I didn't know that sort of carried over after she figured out how to use the Banyan Grove tree to detect where the others were. I guess that sort of carried over for her, and now she can use the spirit energy wherever she goes. So in a sense, well, she's learned, something new. She's got this new power. She might be weak, but she has this new power. Oh, by the way, and she's back in her water tribe clothes, where she actually, I'm liking her new haircut now that she's, for some reason, now that she's back in those clothes. I have no idea why. It's just like now I like her new haircut more than when she was in sort of the baggy nomad clothes or earthbender clothes. I don't know what it is, but yeah, she looks great. Um, so it's a lot of fun to see a lot of the action. There's a lot of great action. There's a lot of great comedy, especially from Wu. And yeah, sure, the friends got snippy a bit, but then they got back together, which was a little bit for me. But still, it was an excellently done episode. Varric and Bolin's part was really great. Theirs was a lot action-based. I wonder why Kuvira had wanted posters up if she thought they were dead. Maybe she figured it out, or maybe she just guessed. I don't know, but still, it was, or maybe she was just being cautious. Still, we had a great fight with Bolin really becoming less of a comic relief character. Yeah, comic relief has sort of been taken over by Wu, and Bolin's become more of a serious kind of character. By the way, I really love how the mechs move in this and how they're used to fight. They really gave these benders a run for their money. I mean, they're just really powerful now. And yeah, Varric was really creative. Has anyone? People have pointed this out, but Varric is kind of turning into the Tony Stark of this universe, and he actually does kind of look like Tony Stark a lot. So it's really it's really kind of cool the way it's sort of turned out with him. He's an inventor, but he's also a billionaire, and he's really smart, but he's also eccentric, and he's got a secretary who's a female assistant who's really put upon. But yeah, so anyway, that was last week's episode. I'm going to talk about this week's episode, and yeah, you're going to see what I think of that, because I think this is going to be a little bit of a controversial kind of thing. So I'll get to that, but great episode last week.